Hey everyone, this is Jessica Crenshaw. We are back again. Guys, I just want to say wow. I don't know how or why or what, but please keep doing it. But we have reached a new goal. We just want to say thank you to everyone that is interacting with Nick, the Nova's video Dreams. We have broken a Poetry Worldwide record of reaching over 11,000 people. Now, folks, if you're a poet, if you know somebody who's a poet, if those numbers don't tell you what we can do for you and your art, then I'm not really sure what will. So we still have some people sleeping on the show. We hope that those numbers will wake you up because we are going to shut down for this season in, I would say, late May, and then we're going to ramp back up in the fall season. So we will be looking for you soon. We're always looking for new poets and new talent, new hip hop artists to come out and be on the show. Another announcement, we thank you so much for listening to Reno King Lawrence's interview. The audio version came out yesterday. The video version is going to come out Wednesday the 18th. So we are always looking forward to, putting people out there, and we love it. So please stay with us. We just want to say thank you to WYTV7, Christian Broadcasters Network, for believing in the goal and the dream of putting poets out there. This network believes that we have a voice and we definitely should be heard. So we always want to say thank you. I always say that the internet is a very, very funny spot. So this next poet that we're going to interview today actually reached out to us via email. She watched some of our interviews and was just like, hey, I got to take part in this. So that's just another example of showing you, if you reach out to us, we'll reach back out and definitely try to get you booked there. But this is a fiery young poet coming out of Houston, Texas. I heard her videos and I was blown away. I know she's gonna touch you in a lot of good ways, spiritually, in your soul and in your mind. So without further ado, introducing the Slim the Poet. What's going on, Slim?
Thank you. Good morning.
Hey, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Hey, I'm just out here interviewing good folks like you, but I was just telling the viewers that, golly, I saw your video. And I was just blown away. So we're really going to get into how you got that fire inside of you. So I'm excited to interview today and to interview you today and to really get into you, living life behind the mic. So I always ask any artist that comes on the show, I love to see how people begin. So when did you start writing?
I started noticing my talents at the age of 12, but I really didn't utilize it until I actually turned 17. My mom is a poet herself, and that's what really got me interested into it because I noticed her work. And the funny thing is I used to want to be a rapper. That's where I got my inspiration from. And I used to tell myself, oh, I'm gonna be a rapper, I'm gonna be a rapper, I'm gonna be a rapper. But I found more depth and feeling into doing poetry rather than rapping because I feel like anybody can rap. You can take some words, put it on a beat, but the emotion, the experience, and you could do that with rap too. But I feel like poetry is more emotional, more in depth, more feeling behind it. So I took that route, and it took me about a couple years to actually just go about writing and using my talents. So
Yeah. Well, um, you know, um, a long time ago, this is a secret, but since it's just me and you and the world watching, I tried to be a rapper too. It still makes me laugh. I was freestyling with a bunch of friends, and I thought I could do it. I never really like tried, but just like you, I can really relate to that story. Poetry really kind of grabbed hold of me and was like, I'm gonna need to be I'm gonna need for you to do poetry and not try to rap. That's not cool. So I can definitely understand. I did want to get into, what inspires you. So I did want to ask, what inspires you to do poetry with all of the mediums for self-expression out there? So what draws you to poetry?
Relationships, friendships, my personal feelings and experiences, things that I go through on a daily basis, things I see my fellow peers go through, and just my experiences with relationships themselves. I'm a quiet person and I keep a lot in. So, with my feelings being inside the way they are in my relationships, I don't really keep them out in the open that way. So, it kind of inspired me to like write and let my voice be heard.
Mhm.
And because I don't say much. So writing poetry allows people to finally get a feel of me and who I am and how I actually feel about things because you wouldn't know that because I hide so much in.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I always, I had a creative writing teacher. She would always say, "You got to watch out for the quiet people. They make the best poets because, like, you could be out doing what you do, and you just be quiet and you see something, but you don't comment on it. But next thing you know, you got an open mic night, and then that's when you choose to comment on it, and then that's when like everybody's like, "Whoa, I didn't even know Slim felt like that." So I mean, I think I'm more of an extrovert, as you can see. I think you guys definitely hold a little bit more advantage because nobody at that point would really know how you feel until you got on the mic and then you've had time to kind of simmer and create that art. So I really believe that that's a secret weapon, that people like you hold. So I'm definitely excited to hear any other poetry that you have. And now, just staying on the topic of inspiration, where do you gain your inspiration? So at your core, where do you find yourself pulling things from to create your poetry?
Um, some of it, a little bit of it is creativity, but most of it comes from, like I said earlier, my feelings and emotions.
Mhm.
Um, R&B music, um, reality, life itself. Um, I like to use my imagination, but every now and then when I find myself using imagination, I always come back to reality because I can't. I have an imagination, but I'd rather be realistic
Mhm.
and transparent when it comes to poetry.
So which R&B artists, now we never know who we're broadcasting to. So which R&B artists inspire you? So if they happen to they happen to listen, they might pick you up.
So many. Brent Fires. I like him. I like Erica Badu. I like her. I like. There's just so many. I mostly find my self writing to Sabrina Claudio. I listen to her a lot. I don't remember her. Sneed
Yeah,
Harriet. I believe she's another one of my favorites, and I never could get her name correct, but she's another one of my. Um, I don't know. I guess it's the vibe, the feel, the vibe, the emotion, the realistic in the music. I can relate to that when it comes to relationships, and it's helped me write about my experience, and it's inspiring to hear other people's stories.
definitely.
Um, yeah.
Well, hey, any of those artists that you listed, if you're listening, you got somebody that you can put on your next track. So we're trying to get you pushed out here. So you never know, you might get that phone call, after this interview. So I also wanted to kind of get into your poetic style. So we have some poets that are realists, some that are just romantic, and then some people that are just straight up political poets. Where do you see yourself in the poetic arena, and where do you feel like you fit?
I see myself as a realist and romantic because I noticed that I write a lot about love and feelings and heartbreak and I'm also very realistic. Like I said, I use my creative side, but I
Mhm.
always tap back into reality. So, um, not even so much just about romantic, but I also like to talk about things that actually go on in today. So more like a conscious, poetic vibe.
Mhm. Definitely.
Um, that's where I see myself. I'm not very political, so I don't try to swerve to that lane. I try to stay out that lane. I only talk about what I know. It's easier that. Yeah.
Yeah, every teacher worth their salt, creative writing teacher, English, whatever, they will always say, write what you feel. So I mean, if you're not having those type of like, political uprising type poetry, then don't write it. You always want to try to present your art and yourself in the most, authentic light possible. So that's definitely a good piece of advice, just through you talking, stay in your lane and, stick to what you're good at. So I definitely agree with you there. And here's a fun question. So we do try to have a little bit of fun here on the show. So if you could make a living as a poet, would you start what you're doing right now?
Yes, ma'am. I will most quit today. Deuces. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gone. I'm gone. I'm gone. I'm gone. Like if
def-
I make a living being a poet, yes, ma'am, I would definitely quit what I'm doing today and just hit the ground running. And you know, I wish it was that easy. I wish it was that as easy as it is for me to write. I wish it was that easy for me to just be like, I quit. Let me get paid for poetry. But I will say this: I would love for it to do it, but I wouldn't want it to be my job because the moment it becomes my job is the moment that it won't be fun anymore. I don't. As of right now, I write because it's a release, it's therapeutic, and it's something I love doing, and it's a passion. But the minute it becomes like my job, like where I'm obligated to do it, I feel like that it won't be fun anymore. Yes, I would love to get paid for it, but I don't want how it is now, like a 9 to 5, where it's like, you get up in the mornings and it's like, oh, I gotta go to work today. I don't never want writing poetry to become that for me because then it's not fun anymore, you know. And I have people now who ask me to write stuff for them, and it's cool, but when I don't, when it becomes like an obligation, that's when it's not fun anymore. Like I want to always love doing it.
Mhm. Yeah, so I understand that. I mean, definitely when it does become an obligation, it really kind of stops that flow. So wherever we get our flow from, it's almost like it dams it up or like it just stops it. So I really understand what you're saying. Like people tell me I got a good sense of humor and I should go into comedy, but I always tell them, I said, the minute I go into comedy, I ain't gonna be funny anymore. I promise you. I'm just not gonna be funny. But I definitely can relate to you there. Now I do want to ask, how long have you been doing poetry?
Um, I would say since I was 17 is where it really just started.
Hmm.
So far as spoken word, I just started last year. I had a fear of being on stage and being in front of people. Um, and one of my I don't normally do New Year's resolutions, but last year my New Year's resolution was to get on stage and perform to get over that fear so I can move forward. And I actually did my first spoken word piece January 1st. Please don't touch my hair. And it was actually exciting. It was a natural high, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. And I regret, and I don't have any regrets, but I do regret not doing it sooner because it was a good experience.
Well, I'm an old head when it comes to this poetry game. Pretty much from doing stage poetry, I would say I'm retired, even though I'm only like 32. But I can just let you know, from veteran to just beginner, everybody has a timing, and I don't want you to have a regret of not starting it sooner. it's almost like asking a flower to grow too soon. So I mean that was when you had to grow. So I mean, even though you just started, you still have more experience than maybe some of our viewers out there. What type of um, I would just say motivational words or things that you've learned on your beginning of your poetic journey would you tell some of our artists out here?
I would say don't let fear hold you back. You know, if you're gonna do something, go ahead and go for it. Don't speak negative light on whatever it is you want to do. Never say can't. Never say, I'm not sure if I'm good enough, because you never know. And one thing that I learned is that my fear of not putting my work out and getting on stage, when I did start putting it out there, I noticed that it didn't matter if it reached one person or five people or 20 people. There's somebody out there that can relate to your situation, whether it's creative, made up, or realistic. Somebody out there, that story is somebody else's and they can relate to it. Another thing I would say is keep going. Once you start, keep going. Keep keep doing it, because you go you grow through what you go through, like you said earlier. So it is a growing experience, a learning experience, and I actually I found out a lot within myself about myself, and I just enjoy doing it. Like,
I
don't
can I can tell.
stop now, especially when I get on stage and it's a natural high. I got up there nervous, but I don't know. It's like once I get the mic in my hand and I see those people, it's just like the true me comes out. Everything that's hidden in here, everybody gets to see it outward. And I like to call myself an introvert, but when I get on stage, you can't tell. It's like,
Yeah.
you can't tell.
And I mean, for somebody like me, other veterans that have been in the game watching, it really is a joy to see a person just getting started in poetry because it helps us to think back like, wow, I remember feeling like that. And then if we do an open mic, we feel those feelings again, and it takes us way back to when we first stepped on the stage and we was nervous, and but when we the first words we uttered out, we were able to reconnect with that feeling. And I did want to also ask you a couple of questions here, kind of getting into, a little bit more of your art and also any type of motivational words that you have. Now we have people going through, a lot of situations out there, and as poets, we are supposed to be the voices of hope. So, for someone who's going through a tough situation, a bad situation, what type of motivational words would you give them today, just in case they're watching today? So, your motive, even if you just motivate one person, what would you say to them today?
Push through. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Keep going. Um, it may rain today, but the sun will come out eventually. And although it may feel like at the moment, like, the world is holding you down, there's a lot of strength in you that can pull yourself back up, and that, this too shall pass. This too
Mhm.
shall doesn't last forever. Troubles don't last forever. And as long as you keep that positive mind frame and keep that strength, we can make it through.
Definitely. Well, that is some beautiful words, and viewers, we once again, if you're just tuning in, we're speaking with Slim the poet, fiery young poet out of Houston, just getting her start. We're trying to make sure that she starts off right, pushing her out here, and she was just giving a motivational word to anybody out there that's listening. So I heard through the grapevine, you know how people talk. But I heard that you're working on the book, so you got to give us the title and what's inspiring you to write this new book. That's exciting.
Yes, it's very exciting. I never thought that I would actually write a book. As a kid, I could always draw, and like I said, my mom was poetic, so she wanted to write a book, and I was supposed to be the illustrator. But as I took on my own path, my own journey, I realized my own skills, and I decided to write a book, and it's titled Unfinished Feels. It's about my journey through relationships and friendships and hardships that I've gone through as a young adult, and dealing with relationships and friendships and some financial hardships. that I faced as a young adult. Um, what inspired me to write the book is I know people in my age go through similar things, and I figured, well, if I have a blog, why not go for it? Once my mind is put to something, I'm just like zoom, like I got to do it. So I was like, write a book, why not? Let's just do it. And it helped me. Like I said, it's therapeutic, and it helped me a lot to release a lot of the things that I was feeling, and to be able to put it in a book. I know that some people, when it is finally released, I know that some people who know me, some of my family members are really gonna be like in awe because I keep so much in, and my books allow me to open up and be vulnerable. My book has taught me to be vulnerable, and that's the most intimacy I didn't have with anybody is myself. And
Mm,
that book has allowed me to be transparent in my own truths and face my own truths and just be real and you know.
definitely. Well, man, that already sounds like a page turner. So you guys save up your money, save up your coins, share, understand that we got a new artist coming out with a new book. Do you have a release date or just an anticipated release date?
Um, my anticip my anticipated release days is next year. That's the goal. But I have been setting goals for myself, and I have passed them. So it could
Okay.
be sooner than that. It could be sooner than that. I said 2019, but I'm ahead of the game, so it could be sooner than that. Yes.
Okay. Well, hey, we definitely may have to have you back on the show. When you hit some of your benchmarks of 100 sales, 500 sales, or whatever. So don't forget us. When you get that New York Times bestseller mark on your book. So
Yes, manifested. Yes.
definitely keep us in mind there. So we're getting to the end of the show, and I did want to ask, how can people connect with you? If they wanted to see your videos, keep up with the progress on your book. How can people connect with you right now?
If you like to see my videos, you can go on. I have a poetry page on Facebook called Spiritually Connected slash Slim. That is my poetry entertainment page on Facebook. Or you can also hit my personal page, Shermia, Shermia, capital PH, which is my personal Facebook page that I also post my poetry on. I am more active on Twitter, and you can find me at Slim Tuned In. And that's where you can find the progress on my book. I also have a blog that I work on and I post to. I'm starting to post to that weekly now, and also Instagram at slim underscore the underscore poet.
Definitely. So, guys, we have a lot of social media connections. So you really have no excuse. So if you're feeling slim, you like what she's putting out there, definitely connect. Let her know that you are out here. So we are closing the show, but we want to definitely thank Slim for being on the show today. We also want to thank WYTV7 for once again believing in the goal and the dream that poets need to be heard. Now, we are in a Christian network, so we always want to close the show out uh, and let folks know that if you do not have a relationship with Jesus Christ, now is the time. So if you're feeling a pull, if you felt the vibe, definitely let Christ into your heart. And you can just say a simple prayer like this: Lord Jesus, I repent of my sins. Come into my life. I make you my Lord and Savior. Now, with that simple prayer, we believe that Jesus Christ is now the Lord of your life. Get in a Bible based church, keep him first place in your life, and he will take you places you've never dreamed of. So once again, we were interviewing Slim the Poet, a fiery young poet out of Houston. We're loving it. And once again, this is Poetry Worldwide, where we want to know that poets can be heard. Are you ready?